All right, welcome back to the Pig Trail Show. It is time for our basketball recruit with our basketball insider, Kevin McPherson. He joins us right now. And Kevin, let's start off talking about this basketball team. You know, they're off to a 2-0 start. What have you thought so far?
Well, first of all, because of COVID-19 pandemic, just playing games is a big deal. Coming into Sunday, there were five SEC teams that hadn't even played a game. Arkansas is now 2-0. In fact, of the five teams that have played at least two games, Arkansas is the only team that remains unbeaten through two games. So a good start for Eric Musman in year two, speaking of two. But also, I think when you look already at the early analytics, it's early, but Arkansas was kind of ranked outside the top 50 in some of these. And already Sagarin ratings says Arkansas ranked 33rd in the country. ESPN's Basketball Power Index has Arkansas at number 38. In Kim Palm, they moved up four spots to number 50. So far, so good. You know, getting out of the gates. When you look at the landscape of college basketball, all the postponement and cancellation, Arkansas has done well to play games and be where they're at.
Well, the two teams that they played have very different styles of play. What are some of your takeaways from what you've seen from the Razorbacks so far?
Well, if you look at the first game, I mean, Mississippi Valley State, arguably the worst team in college basketball. Arkansas wins by 80, 142-62, eight players in double figures. And the takeaway from that was if you were looking for a negative, and Eric Musman certainly thought it was giving up 13 of 39 from three to that team. And, you know, that's 33%. Arkansas was the best three-point field goal defense in the country last year. Musman's talked in the preseason about a lack of lateral mobility. But in game two against a solid North Texas team, look, defending Conference USA champs, that's a good mid-major conference. And they returned a lot of guys and brought in some newcomers that have helped them so far. And Arkansas holds that team 2 of 13 from three. That was 15%. So not only did you get the hold them down percentage wise, they didn't get up many three pointers. That's how you defend the perimeter. And Arkansas wins in a grind game, a total contrast to the first game, 69-54. Basically built up a double digit lead by halftime and went from between 20 and 10, but never got to single digits in the second half. And a big part of Arkansas' success was Connor Vanover in both games. And that was a contrast. First game, 23 points, very efficient, made 4 or 5 from three to lead the team in scoring. That's kind of been his MO, a guy that gives you a lot of production, 23 points in 18 minutes in that game. And his per 40-minute numbers offensively have always been good. But in game two, he was a defensive force. We talked about the three-point defense by the team. But then when North Texas tried to then score inside the arc, get to the basket, Connor Vanover had 6 block shots. I don't know how many more shots he altered, but he also had a career high 16 rebounds. So both the blocks and the rebounds were career highs for him. So when you look at him, you look at Justin Smith, we heard all preseason, the most consistent Razorback in practice. In the first two games, he's been that. He shot better than 50% in both games. He actually knocked down a couple of threes against North Texas, big shots for him. But he had 6 rebounds in the win over North Texas, 3 steals. He also was very good defensively because he got deflections, did things inside and out on the perimeter, part of that good three-point defense, but also with guys trying to drive to the basket. He stayed and walled off guys trying to dribble drive. So I think Justin Smith and Connor Vanover right now have had probably the 2 best games. And then 2 guys, J.D. Note and Moses Moody. These guys are known for their offense. They've struggled a little bit shooting the ball, but they've still managed to produce. Note averaging 14 and a half points a game. Moody 13 and a half so far. With Note, he was more of an offensive spark against North Texas in a defensive grind game and kind of got Arkansas going in a few runs that built that double-digit lead. And Moses Moody was a part of that. Now, his shot hasn't fallen yet. He's had some that look really good from three that have rimmed out. He's also had some transition opportunities that quite haven't worked out because of timing. Those things are going to come around, but what he has done is gotten to the free throw line. 15 to 16 in the first 2 games kind of reminds a little bit of Mason Jones and the way that he would get to the line last year. Moses Moody is a scary good talent, and he's just scratching the surface, also averaging 3 steals a game. And then we haven't even mentioned Desi Sills. Desi leads this team in scoring after 2 games, 16 and a half points a game, preseason SEC, all second team picked by the league's coaches.
Well, you know, you mentioned a former Razorback earlier, and we've got some Pro Hog news related to them. So what do you have an update for us on?
Well, we know Isaiah Joe was selected number 49 in the second round by the Philadelphia 76ers week before last. But on Friday, he signed a 3-year contract worth $4.2 million in total. The first 2 years of that contract are guaranteed at just over $2.4 million. And look, this is a contract that is comparable to late first round, early second round deals when you look back historically in recent years anyway. And this is a great deal for Isaiah Joe. He's in Philadelphia now. The preseason is supposed to start for the NBA on Tuesday, and the first game, regular season games, are expected to start by December 22nd. So it's a quick turnaround because of COVID in the NBA. There is no summer league. There's not a prolonged preseason. So Isaiah Joe hits the ground running. And then Mason Jones, co-SEC Player of the Year last year. We know what he did. Led the league in scoring, 9 30-point games. 2 of those were 40 plus. He signed a 2-way contract with the Houston Rockets as an undrafted free agent. And this year, this 2-way contract, which means splitting time between the NBA and the NBA's G League, in the past, you only got to spend up to 45 days in the NBA being activated, meaning you might not even play in very many games, if any at all. Now, because of COVID and the contract situation, 2-way players are going to be allowed to play up to 50 games in the NBA level. And this year, the games are down from 82 games regular season, down 10 to 72. So Mason Jones has a chance to play himself into a meaningful role with the Houston Rockets. And then we've got Bobby Portis going into his 6th season in the NBA. He's a career double-figure scorer in his first 5 seasons. He was drafted by the Bulls in 2015 in the first round. He ended up with the Knicks last year, 2 programs that haven't really fared very well in the NBA in recent years. But now he's signed a 2-year free agent deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, who had the best record in the NBA last season. Didn't do as well in the playoffs as a lot of Bucks fans might have wanted. But now they've got Bobby Portis, and this is good for Bobby because it puts him in a situation to be with a winning organization and maybe find a good role on a good team to help his career continue to climb and improve for him as he enters year 6.
All right, Kevin McPherson, as always, thanks so much for your insight and for talking with us today. But that's going to do it for our basketball report. We'll be back with more on the Pig Trail after the break.